Transcription of the July 17, 2012 National Press Club Newsmakers event with Master Choreographer and Emeritus Kirov Mikhailovsky, Artistic Director Oleg Vinogradov. Part 1 of 4. Oleg Vinogradov, Youth Ballet and a Big Promise. Everyone has a designated purpose in life. My purpose has been to have an influence on ballet. I adore it, ballet. I am a disciple and a lover of ballet. Sometimes people don't understand true ballet, which is classical ballet. I grew up in St. Petersburg, Russia, known as the capital of European ballet. And I am a graduate of the Vaganova Ballet Academy, formerly St. Petersburg Leningrad Ballet School, one of the best ballet schools in the world. I grew up in a very contradictory time, 1950s to 1960s. There was political unrest. Political views clashed, and political influences were changing. Doors were opening, walls were coming down. I saw the evolution of the development of the Mariinsky and Kirov ballet styles. I have been lucky to see in my lifetime the changes and evolution of ballet, unlike my predecessors who weren't able to have such an expanded view because for a long time, Russian Soviet ballet existed only behind the Iron Curtain. Generations of people didn't know what was happening in the West, so, in particular for me, I felt like I had to raise this curtain. I had to open the doors for the art, ballet, which we were not able to know before. As the times began to change, I was able to meet many artists and musicians outside of Russia, a first for my generation. Artists including Herbert von Karajan, an Austrian orchestra and opera conductor, known best for his work with the Berlin Philharmonic. My mission in the historic period of Vladimir Mikhailovsky, one of the leaders of an anti-communist movement during the Russian Civil War in the mid-20th century, was to bring Western choreography of Béjart, Petit, and others to the people of Russia. I never thought I'd come to America. At night, I would try to get American music to come in on my radio, but I had to be careful. I was always afraid that someone would hear it, citing the Soviet government's restrictions on citizens. Now I live primarily in St. Petersburg, but have been coming to the U.S. regularly for 22 years. Also, during this time, I met and worked with dancers who would become world leaders in ballet. I graduated in the same class as Rudolf Nureyev at the Vaganova Academy.
Свою первую хореографию я делал со своей подругой, которая была младше меня по классу, с Натальей Макаровой.
I created choreography for Natalia Makarova, who is 1 year younger than I am.
В моих балетах впервые танцевал
And Mikhail Baryshnikov was among the first to dance my ballets right after he graduated from school.
Прежде всего, это была реформа, связанная
During that time, the 1950s through the 1960s, Soviet ballet started to change with the rise of Yuri Grigorovich and other new thinkers. Symphonic ballet choreography was started by George Balanchine, who was brought up on Maria's Petipa style, but who eventually developed his own style that is still used today. The last visit of Balanchine's ballet company to St. Petersburg was in 1961 or so.
Я еще в то время не поставил ни одного своего балета, но уже делал постановки в Новосибирске.
I hadn't staged any of my big ballets yet, but had started to choreograph for the Novosibirsk Ballet Theater.
И случайно, приехав, то есть я приехал не случайно.
I came to St. Petersburg to see Balanchine's ballets, which were so new at that time. I met Balanchine, who was young then, and he asked me,
Он спрашивает меня, какие мои балеты вы видели?
Which of his ballets I liked best? I hadn't seen any of them yet, which I couldn't tell him, so I said,
Но сказать маэстро о том, что я не видел его балеты, я не мог. Я сказал, что
I actually like all of your ballets.
Я сделаю все, чтобы ваши балеты
I also
шли
told him
на
that if I ever got the
сцене
chance in my life to bring his ballets to the stage, I would do anything to make that happen.
Я еще был с
I
абсолютно...
was still a nobody at the time.
И спустя 40 лет я выполнил это обещание, которое я ему сказал.
But 40 years later, I fulfilled my promise.
Я первый, кто официально добился постановки балетов Balanchina на сцене
And was
Мариинского.
the first to bring Balanchine's ballets to the Kirov stage. In part 2 of the Oleg Vinogradov blog series, Mr. Vinogradov discusses Russian ballet history and his definition of the perfect ballet body.